The Python Software Foundation has received a $1.5 million investment over 2 years from Anthropic, the company behind Claude AI. So, an artificial intelligence company has just invested into Python, which follows just shortly after Python turned down a US grant in the amount of $1.5 million because the grant required that the Python Software Foundation cease all discriminatory policies and the promotion of DEI policies and the like. So Python had a big budget deficit of around $1.5 million they needed to make up. And this investment from Anthropic and the AI company goes a good ways towards making that up. It's an investment over 2 years. So it's not $1.5 million per year. It's like 750,000 a year, but still a good start in that down that road. Now, to give a little bit of background here, because this is all kind of an important to understand the context. The Python Software Foundation turned down this grant. This was last October they turned it down, and in November we saw that they were actually running out of money. Look at that handsome guy talking about that exact topic there. They announced that they were running out of money, that they had about 6 months of runway left, meaning if they didn't find some significant new revenue to close the deficit, they would, within 6 months or so, they would need to start actually eliminating positions within the Python Software Foundation or finding other ways to cut expenses somewhere, because they just didn't have enough cash in the bank to last longer than that. So they started a marketing campaign called Python is for Everyone. It was a very, very bizarre marketing campaign for two reasons. First, the slogan Python is for everyone was accompanied by a lot of text talking about how it was inclusive to be part of Python and whatnot. And everyone was in big caps, right? Python is for everyone, all bold, which implies that other programming languages are not available for everyone, which is the funniest thing I can possibly think of. You should use Python because C and JavaScript and Rust and Bash and everything else, they're racist. You can't use those if you're the wrong skin color. Obviously, that's not true. Python just kind of pulled this out of nowhere. You notice they stop short of saying other programming languages are racist. They're just basically coming out and saying, well, Python is not racist. That's why you should use it, insinuating that other languages are racist, which is kind of a jerk move, honestly. But this was their whole strategy for raising funds to try and make up that budget deficit, right? Because they had like a million and a half per year that they had to make up. They also only used pictures of black people, predominantly black women. I think I hate to be the person that counts people in things, but they used pictures throughout all of their ad campaigns. They used pictures of 12 black women and 4 black men. No white people, no Asians, no Latinos, no anyone else. And that was who they defined as everyone. I just think it's a little bit humorous when you define and you say we're for everyone, and then you come out and only show one group. That's just a little weird. It's a little weird. Now, I should point out, because I have got this picture up on the screen, that over the last year or so, I went back and looked at some of the past promotional materials that the Python Software Foundation put out. And they did have a picture of one white guy that I found. And it was a picture of a white guy being ridden by an inflatable rainbow colored unicorn with rainbow hair, riding on a white guy's back. Now, what exactly that means and what's going on there, I don't know. It's really weird, but that's what's available to you. So the result of that marketing campaign was a little bit decent. It was halfway decent. They managed to raise about 314,000 to be exact, over a several month period of time up through December. And that's not bad. I mean, considering how bizarre that ad campaign was, the result was pretty decent. But that only covered around 20% of the 1.5, 1.4, something like that $1 million deficit that they had, right? So they 20% of the way there. That clearly wasn't going to work. Right. They were making good progress, but that was after a few months of aggressive fundraising. They'd managed to make up 20% of the deficit. So if they didn't want to start laying off people from the Python Software Foundation and canceling things, they were going to need to find some sort of corporate backer. That was always going to be the case. They needed a corporate backing of some kind. Otherwise, layoffs were coming. That's where Anthropic came in. And Anthropic, the company behind Claude AI, came in with a $1.5 million investment over 2 years. In other words, around $750,000 per year. Again, that doesn't make up the entirety of the deficit, but it gets a good way towards it, right? At that point, it's making up over half of the amount they were in the red. Before I go any further, I want to say thank you to all of the subscribers to the Lunduke Journal. Go to lunduke.com and subscribe to everything. You notice at the Lunduke Journal, we don't do ads. We don't do ads at all. There's no, this episode brought to you by Square Flugenflagen. It's just straight up the content of the show, the news stories, the analysis, the opinions, and whatnot. And somewhere in the show, I say, hey, don't forget Lunduke Journal. It's a pretty good deal. And that is made possible entirely because of all of the supporters of the Lunduke Journal. And if you want to become a paid supporter and be a subscriber to the Lunduke Journal, throughout the month of January, it's 50% off for monthly and yearly subscriptions and just $89 for lifetime subscriptions, which is all listed up there at lunduke.com, which gets you the MP4 downloads, the PDF ebooks, the exclusive forum access, all of that good stuff. Plus, if you become a lifetime subscriber, you can be added to the lifetime Lunduke Journal wall of good smelling nerds, which, by the way, there's now one wall, two walls, and we have almost filled up our second wall. I've had to make the font a little bit smaller, and I'm getting creative where I'm laying things out to try and fit as many names in here as possible. So I think I can fit a few more names in here. I don't know, maybe 6, 7, something like that names on the lifetime subscriber wall number 3 before we will put the stamp on that, close off wall number 3 and start wall number 4. So if you want to get on wall number 3, if you're already a lifetime subscriber, just email me. Let me know that you'd like to be added to the wall or become a lifetime subscriber. It helps to make all of this sort of work possible, to keep us ad-free, big tech-free, non-woke, and audience supported. And now back to your regularly scheduled whatever the heck we're talking about. All right. Pretty good ad, right? All right, so let's talk a little bit about the investment coming in from Anthropic, because it's a little bit strange. So again, $1.5 million spread over 2 years. So $750,000 per year, potentially. Kind of depends on how it's structured and laid out, but that gets them over halfway there. Add on top of that the 300,000 some odd that they managed to raise through the Python is for everyone and JavaScript is racist ad campaign that they ran. And they're still not there, but they're closer. So what is the Anthropic angle on this? What does the Claude AI company get out of this? So here's where this money's going towards. Quote, planned projects that they're going to use this money for include creating new tools for automated proactive review of all packages uploaded to their Python repository, improving on the current process of reactive-only review. End quote. Okay, let's dial in on something here. Automated proactive review of all packages. What are the odds that this automation is an AI system powered by Anthropic? I mean, really, if an AI company is coming in with a $1.5 million investment into Python, and Python turns around and says the main thing they're going to be doing with that is automated reviews of things, doesn't that tell you they're probably going to be adding new tools using Anthropic's AI, right? There's going to be Claude AI tied tools on the Python ecosystem somewhere. That seems to me to be what they're saying they're going to be going for. They also say that funds will also be used for, quote, community support through grants and other programs and running core infrastructure and more. The announcement made no mention of Python's race and gender discrimination policies. And I think that's important because that suggests that Anthropic is not making any such requirements like what the U.S. government was making. The U.S. government said, "Hey, Python, if you want this money, you have to stop doing the DEI and discriminatory policies. You can't be racist and sexist anymore." There's no details around this in the announcement from the Python Software Foundation that any such requirement is being included. And considering how extremely ardent the Python Software Foundation seems to be about continuing their DEI policies, my guess is that means that Anthropic was okay with that, right? And Anthropic had to know. I mean, they had to know that, oh, you need money because you turned down a grant. Why did you turn down the grant? Well, the Python Software Foundation was very, very vocal about why they turned down the grant. So that means Anthropic was A-OK with the DEI stuff and the racism and the sexism and whatnot coming out of the Python Software Foundation and made no such requirements on them. So those are all things kind of worth noting. It would be interesting to see. Now, Python ends up being used quite a lot throughout the AI world. It's just a commonly used language for a number of different AI-related projects. So it's not absolutely out of the ordinary for Python to come in and want to make some sort of investment into, or Anthropic to make an investment into Python like this. It's not unreasonable. But it is worth noting that, yeah, we're likely to see Anthropic features in Python. As all this is going on, Python is looking at making a number of changes on the back end as well. And just kind of something to keep an eye on with everything else that's happening. And I talked about this back in November, but considering everything, it's worth mentioning again that the core Python developers are proposing that Python implement a hard dependency on the Rust programming language. Specifically, we're saying CPython, which is the de facto standard reference implementation for Python. They're looking at introducing a hard Rust dependency and requirement so that going forward, Rust is a core requirement and key part of the Python programming language, and that change, which looks like it is going forward, is being pushed by a man who identifies as a trans woman named Emma Typing, who works at NVIDIA and actually has only been a member of the Python core team for just a couple of months. So there's a lot of changes happening within the world of Python right now. They're moving over to Rust, which is a pretty significant shift. There seems to be a very distinct cultural shift going on. And the financial issues are still not resolved. They still have a pretty significant budgetary deficit, though at their current rate, their layoffs will have to be significantly less. And we're likely to see AI functionality as more of a core for the back end of all of the Python infrastructure, which is entirely fascinating. So we'll keep an eye on this and see how it goes going forward. But it's all, it doesn't make you super excited about Python. I like Python as a programming language. I mean, the white space thing is a little bit weird, but as a general rule of thumb, I don't dislike the Python programming language. But where they've been going lately has been a little bit bizarre. From last year's suspension of contributors who made the mistake of saying that they like the 1970s SNL sketch. That was weird, to all the way to today with all of the strange stuff going on with the refusal to end DEI policies and willing to go out of business, almost even. They're willing to risk going out of business in order to continue DEI policies. It's just a lot of weird stuff. It's a lot of weird stuff. And we'll keep an eye on it as we go. Once again, thank you to all the subscribers of the Lunduke Journal. I absolutely could not do this without you. Thank you to all the paid subscribers. And thank you to everyone who just grabs a free subscription. If you go to lunduke.com, notice that there's a mountain, just a mountain of different places you can get the Lunduke Journal. It's not just available as an audio podcast or just on X or just on YouTube or Rumble. I mean, it's on Locals and Substack and Patreon and Facebook. It's everywhere. So pretty much wherever you're at on the internet, you can grab the Lunduke Journal, more or less. And I appreciate all of you who have done so and helped the Lunduke Journal grow over the last several years. It means the absolute world. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, nerds and nerdettes, across the inner tubes, I do declare, end broadcast.